Hey everybody, in this episode, we're going to wrap up this project by working on the rear of the house. And the rear looks like this. And we're going to be doing two different views. This one and this one, a nighttime scene. So we're going to mix it up a bit, but we're going to be spending most of our time recreating the materials here, doing some of the set dressing here, adding the lights, atmosphere, and try and recreate this. And we'll even tackle this little river thing. All right, so let's get started. As usual, all the files are going to be in the description. If you didn't watch part one, feel free to watch that, or just open up the file that I've included in the description. Anyways, let's get started. I'm in D5. I'm going to fly all the way to the rear, and this is where we'll be working. Okay, so I'm just going to set the scene, roundabout where our camera was taken. And now I'm going to start tweaking some of my settings. First thing I want to do is just turn off the precipitation, because if I'm matching that view, I didn't have any snow. So I've got that off. Next thing I want to do is fix the materials and fix some of the terrain things going on here. And then we'll add some more detail. So if I get up close, right now we've just got a typical material, nothing fancy, but we're going to add this kind of like Corten steel. So let's get to that. So I'm going to open up assets and we're going to go down to metal. Okay, we've got rose gold, we've got rusty metal, we've got copper, old copper. That might not be too bad. Let's work with old copper and let's tweak it a bit. Okay, so right now you can see that it's super, super shiny, which isn't ideal, right? So we're going to go in there and we're going to change the roughness. Again, the roughness is what's going to make it either super reflective, so 0 is like a mirror, or scuffed up and kind of dirty here. So this is actually the roughness map coming through. So there's parts that are shiny and then there's parts that aren't shiny. And that's actually why we're seeing the difference here. So it's kind of nice because you're kind of controlling the weathering, but you can see the tiling looks horrible, right? So I always go to triplanar to kind of make it world scale, and then I'll do UV randomizer. So you can see those hexagons I mentioned earlier that I really don't like. So I'm actually going to play with the scale a bit. So, sorry, I'm at 0.5. Let's try 0.5. And that's a little bit better, but you see how splotchy it is? So let's try real quick without the randomizer. Yeah, that's much better. Let's try maybe 0.3. I think 0.25. Yeah, I can live with that. We can just tune this a little bit so it's not as present. I mean, I guess it really depends on the look you're going for, right? But I want it to be just kind of so subtle, right? All right, cool. That's fine by me. I like the look of that. And I believe it's actually a tad darker than what we've got here. Go there. Yeah. And it should be a little more orange. So I'll switch over to RGB and I'm going to add some yellow here. That way I can do this, right? So if I bring it down here, it's going to be a darker orange. That's looking better. And we're getting some nice reflections here. That's what I was talking about, how the map is driving if something is more reflective than not. So let's take a look here. All right, we can go a little bit more vibrant. Yeah, I'm fine with this. One thing that's driving me nuts is auto exposure. Always turn that off because you'll see like how different the material looks when you have this on or off. So I'll leave that around there just so I can get a better look. And I'll make this slightly more vibrant. Okay, cool. And we'll turn on round corner a bit to give us some nice edges here. See the difference? Off. That's going to go away in a moment. And that, yeah, much better. You see how the light's hitting that? That's perfect. And we'll tighten that up a bit. So we've got that. We've got our bricks here. We've got to raise the terrain here. And let's just put like a concrete, kind of like a sidewalk material here. So I'm going to go here. Let's search concrete. We just want something simple. Yeah, rough concrete. This is totally fine. And we'll drop that in. Perfect. Scale looks good. Do eye and round corner. Okay, cool. So we can build up the snow here. Two ways of handling this. You could use the terrain tool and sculpt up, or you could fake it with some assets. So I'll show you both ways, and just so you get an idea. If I were to go here and then just search for snow, you'll see that we actually have a bunch of these like snow patches. Yeah, so I could do something like this, then rotate it down so it blends into my terrain. So I could do this all the way around my project, and it's going to give me some nice like variation of like the snow being higher and lower in different areas. So this is one way of doing it, right? You could totally do it with your terrain, but I'm just saying if you don't want to, this is an option. So just like a before and after. And then we're going to be able to cover this with like with vegetation, so it blends a little bit better. But I don't hate this. I kind of like that look. So here it's like really, really subtle. But if you go up here, see how you've got like all this, and which we can build up with the model. You've got two different approaches. I'll show you both because why not? That's why I'm here, right? So to do the other way, I'm going to go to terrain and I'm going to sculpt. And here is my brush. Generally, I like to keep a slow strength or a low strength. That way it doesn't get too extreme. And let's just flatten this a bit. Okay, perfect. All right, I can live with that. Yeah, so that's totally fine. I can add a little bit more variation here, just so it's not flat. Perfect. So up to you if you want to copy this, but you could just hold Shift and you'll make a duplicated version. I recommend scaling these so they don't look samey, as well as rotating them slightly. You've got options here. So let's look at the other ones. This one's kind of longer. This one we can actually use for the driveway. So I'll hold on to that. And we've got some more mounds here. Actually, I'm going to just drag these out so we have them. Yeah, this is perfect for that driveway. So I'm just bringing out pieces for now. And I'm doing this just so it's like, you know, it's kind of like when an artist paints and they've got all their colors here. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm having all the assets like readily available. So we're going to just play with this, lower this. Okay, and I'm just going to shift, and then shift. Perfect. And then let's grab some of these guys, rotate, and then scale them up just to help blend it all and add some variation between all of them. Yep. Yeah, I like how that's capping that. Okay, and I can just raise the terrain a bit. Okay. Perfect. All right, so then I said this was perfect for like our driveway. So what I meant is this guy right here. So you could actually just use this and scale it up. And this could be your driveway. So this is one way of doing it, right? And you can kind of like combine these pieces together. So I'm just scaling them so they're about the same size. And they're basically built to kind of like fit into each other, which is kind of cool. That's one way of doing it. The other way, because again, we've got multiple ways. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, right? You could paint a material here and then do it that way. But I like all the detail we're getting here. But just pointing out, like, you do have different ways. So like you could grab one of these materials, like a dirt or something. I'll get rid of that and then paint that there. So totally an option. You know, I'm just pointing out what you guys can do. But I like that we have this mesh. I'm just going to scale this up. And I know there's, you know, trees in there and everything. We'll fix that in just a moment. So I'm just going to shift. And we're just going to kind of build out this driveway thing. Okay, cool. So I like all the added detail. That looks really nice. That's great. The other thing I want to do is just change my time of day just so I can get, yeah, exactly. Just a little bit of sunlight. Perfect. Awesome. So now if I were to go back to my view, this guy at least, we could switch to a different HDRI. Right now, this is like super cloudy, so that's why it looks so different. So to just do that, you click HDRI, and we could do kind of like midday, or you could do a dynamic sky, but we're going for realism, so I'm going to go with the dynamic sky. So let's rotate this guy a bit. Okay. All right, I'm going to lower the sun disk a little bit just because it was like kind of sharp in the light. I don't want it to be super bright, but I do like how the light is like being cast on this. Yeah, that'll kind of make it glow. Yeah, if you want, you could go with a different one like midday, but I really like using midday too in general. It's like my go-to. So I'm going to stick with that. And I like the amount of clouds and everything. So that's great. Let me just update this. Okay, great. The other thing is we didn't paint any rocks yet. We don't have the river yet, and we could use some more trees. So if you remember before, I said if you paint something, it's going to live in your brush history, and all you have to do is literally just go to apply to brush, and now you can literally repaint. So, I was saying, oh, I didn't have enough trees, but there we go. I've got all my trees. You could do one by one. You could do path. You've got all these different options. But again, you kind of see the theme here. It's like it doesn't matter what you do as long as your end goal is reached. So I'm happy with this. If I want, I can always delete them. And to delete, you just go to apply to eraser and then you just remove them. Anywho, let's go check out our rocks. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to click them. We're going to go brush history, and then we're going to apply to brush. And for these, you could individually place like the bigger ones, or you could do it this way with the brush. Totally fine with anything you choose. So I'm going to go with this. Okay. Happy with this. And I'm just going to add a couple here. I know it's too much, so I'm just going to apply to the eraser. And I'm just going to delete some of these. Because we want some, but not too many, right? That's great. You could do another paint group of just like dead twigs and like trunks and everything. If you want to do, like some of this stuff here, that's totally fine. The other thing I'll do is add that grass, like this guy right here. So I'm going to click this, and I'm just going to apply to brush, and we'll do a little bit in here. See that? It's going to help break up everything. Okay, and we'll do it in here as well. We're just adding, these leaves to help break up just the snow and everything. You can hear me frantically clicking. If you hold it in place, it's going to add a lot more density. So that's why you hear me do the clicking. But you see how much better that looks? And I always like to just play with the scale as I'm working, just so you're getting different layers of height. Okay. All right, and then I can go here, paint some more. And I can add some in here as well. All right, perfect. It looks much, much better, much more realistic because we've got all this detail. And what you could do is swing back to your camera area and just make sure all the details you're adding are actually making it into the frame. Perfect. Add some there. Add some there. Great. So let's look one more time. If we look here, you see these like taller guys? So we can add those in. That way we've got like another layer of height up against the wall. So I'm going to go right here. And let's go to model. So let's go to nature. Let's go to succulent. And let's look for something that's kind of tall like the picture. I like these guys. They're going to come in really small. So I'm just going to scale them. So I'm going to click V. And there we go. You could break the stretch. So you're just scaling them vertically. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to shift copy them around, rotate, shift copy, rotate. I'm going to do that all the way over. So one of the reasons I'm not using a path right now is I know these assets are really small, and so they're actually not going to scale large enough in the path tool. So what I mean by that is that there's a certain hard limit, but with this, I can actually do whatever I want. Scale-wise, it's infinite. I'm just going to add a bunch of these. Yeah, there we go. And let me just fill in the blanks here. Perfect. All right, that looks great. And then if I look at the photo one more time, I've got a couple of these evergreen trees. So let's drop those in. And then we can get to rendering. Those are going to be under conifer. If you scroll down, probably go with one of those. Yeah, these guys aren't bad. I'm going to go with these, and we're just going to place them right there. Yeah, perfect size. Perfect. Just going to randomize them a bit. You could select all these, and this is new in 2.9, and just do random rotation. which is kind of nice, and random size. So up to you if you want the control or not. So I love this. That looks great. Let's go back to our scene. Okay, awesome. Let me see if the other side has them. No, it's just this side. Okay, great. And let's just add a little river, and we'll call it on that image. So for this is going to be a little tricky. And the reason I say that is the terrain tool doesn't have like the fine detail tools. So what we got to do is actually shrink the size to be really, really small. And 1 is this. That's the biggest we could do. So the strength, let's keep it low because we don't want to go too deep. And edge fall off, I've got it at 3. Let's just try 14. Let's try 43. Basically what this means is like where the strength is. So right now I've got the strength in the inner circle and then it tapers out, which, you would typically see in a river, right? It's kind of like this. All right, so let's do that. I'm just going to start painting really, really gently. I'm going to try and do like an S curve. And I don't want to go too deep, right? And once I have that, perfect. All I need to do is just drop in a plane and then I can fake a river. Okay, there we go. And grab that. And I'll just make it a water. And so this looks pretty good, but you'll see that the scale is a little off. You see how big like the waves are and everything? So the stretch, let's try 5. Okay, that's looking better. Let's try 8. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go to 10 and I'm gonna add a little bit of depth just so we get more color. And I'm gonna change this like neon blue to like a dark. Yeah, exactly. So I'm living like right around here. Perfect. If you think it's like too much water, you could just lower the plane like this. But yeah, I think that's great. I'm just going to delete this little rock. Yeah, exactly. Great. Yeah, then you could paint like more leaves and grass around this. So let me do that because that looks really good. Okay. Paint there, paint there. Perfect. Yeah, and if anything else is floating, you can just erase that as well. Yeah, what you might need to do for any area you did before the river was applied. Now I'm just going to go apply to brush. Yeah, that's going to feel a little bit better. Awesome. So let's go back to scene 2. And now that I've got the river here, I'm going to move this back a bit. That's good. I'm just going to I could put some rocks here that block this tree, or I could erase the tree, but I actually like it a lot. So I'm just going to look for rocks. Yeah, I can literally grab this mound. Okay, that's going to add some more detail. Perfect. Okay, and I'm just going to copy this around. Just add some more detail right here. Maybe not that close. Right there is good. Let me just fix this. Let's scale this down. Let's plop it right in there. Great. I'm going to do a couple here just to help blend this. Shrink this even more. Yeah, these are great assets. And you can definitely paint more to kind of like cover the seams, but I'm happy with where this is at. So now that I see this, I want to tweak this material a little bit more now that like all the pieces are coming together. I think the roughness is still a little too much. I'm just going to play with this a bit. Just want it to be like in more areas. So maybe we just change our stretch. I don't like that it's tiling there and there. I could add some decals to kind of break this up, and maybe that's the move. The UV randomizer isn't doing it for me right now. So for the decals, if you've never done that before, it's a really like cheap and easy way to just add more grunge and help break up a texture. So I'm gonna go over to decal. Let's see if there's something I can use. So if you've never used it before, I'll just grab this rust so you could see. So it's almost like a sticker that you're applying. And now I've got like some rust there, which is, pretty nifty. So I can add Add some leaks here. Again, I'm just trying to break up this texture, this tiling texture at least. Gonna scale this. Yeah, there we go. And to lower the opacity, you just play with this guy right there. That way it's not as intense. Again, we're just adding a little bit of grunge. If you want, you can also add like these leaves piles. Yeah, and this is a nice easy way to add more detail. All right. Yeah, this guy might be good. We can drop it in here. And I'm just going to change. I know this is like super extreme. I'm going to change the opacity just to be a little, just a little. Exactly. And that's what I meant about breaking that up. I'm going to do shift click. I'm going to shift click again. All right. So we're adding a nice amount of weathering to the wall. Because that's, you know, what Corten steel is. It basically weathers itself to protect itself. Perfect. All right, cool. And then I think I might just darken the whole material itself. Perfect. That way it blends a little bit better. All right, awesome. So I'm going to go back here. Okay. Make sure, yeah, it's nice. Okay, I'm going to update this. Let's set up some camera settings. I'm going to probably boost this to, let's say, 35. Got to set my focus to here. And let's take one more look. I see floating trees here. That's the problem with doing the river after. I'm just going to lower this a bit. Let's blend that in. That looks great. This guy's sticking out a little too much, so let's lower him. I can even just darken it if I want. All right, happy with this. So we've got this camera. I'm going to update this. It's in a good spot. The exposure, let's see. I think 0 is actually pretty good. Let's look at the image one more time. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I'm happy with that. I don't even need to tweak these. I feel like this works really well. You could add a little bit of vignette for focus, but nothing too crazy. I feel like these settings with the HRI working really nicely. You could add a little bit of contrast, but nothing crazy. Highlight, yeah, let's add that just a little bit. Shadow. I don't want to go too far. All right, perfect. I'm gonna update this. And now let's just duplicate the scene, and we're going to make a night scene. So with the night scene, let me click the camera button here. The angle was like somewhere over here, and it was super, super wide. And what I mean by that is, look at the angle of this. You see how like pointed that looks? So we kind of want to match that. And that's going to be done by lowering this guy. Let's say, is that like 20? Yeah, exactly. You can drop to 18 if we want. Okay. And we're going to turn on 2 points. Something like this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we'll go to 16:9. Okay, let's update this. And we got to make this nighttime. Okay, yeah, there's a little glitch in 2.9 where the 2 point keeps kicking off. But anyways, I'm going to go to environment. I'm going to switch this to geo and sky. Let's go nighttime. Oh, actually, that's kind of cool. Ooh, actually, all right, let's cheat a little bit. We're not going to match 100%. Now I'm actually debating if we should go with like a super nice sunset. Yeah, let's see what this looks like. That's kind of cool too. I want it to be a little darker though. Oh, this is, ooh. All right, if we lower the light a little bit and then we lower the contrast and the sunlight, I think, yeah, I kind of like this a lot. And I want like a little bit of light here. Yeah, exactly. Because that's where your eye should focus, right? Add a little bit of fog. Okay, we're gonna update this. And then let's lower the exposure. Let's go like -0.1. Yeah, exactly. So 2 point. All right, and let's add some lights. So what I recommend for the lights, just to be organized, we should make a new layer, call them lights. That way we can toggle them on and off because scenes can remember layer visibility. I go to lights, I'm gonna grab this guy, we're gonna go spotlight, and I'm just gonna add a bunch of these, but flip them upside down. So I'm gonna flip this way to 180. I could rotate it a bit just to like point towards the wall, but I'm gonna try and keep it straight up. So let me just make sure this is all zeroed. I'm gonna change our IES. The IES is like the actual profile. I'm gonna go with this guy, and let's add some intensity here. It looks like it's getting snagged on the light. Just want to make sure I can visualize this real quick. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. That's the IES. So I'm gonna do a little rotation this way. Yeah, perfect. The other way of doing it is just play with the follow me function. So I'm gonna do that. I just want to make sure I'm actually like visualizing the light. Okay. Perfect. Do that. I could put it in the ground, but I'm scared it's gonna like get blocked by all this. If I increase this, it'll be a little bit softer, which is fine. Okay, temperature. Yeah, let's make it warm. So what I'll do, maybe the trick is I put it near the ground and then I just point. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, some of it's going to be obstructed. Some of it's going to come through. And I know I'm on the correct layer because of this guy right there. Just making that obvious. And if you forget how I'm duplicating, I'm just holding shift and then clicking my little dot. Okay. This is what I was worried about, the obstruction. It's, yeah, the terrain got in the way. Okay, that's awesome. Some of these plants are glowing, which, you know, up to you if you want that look or not, but kind of cool. All right, so we've got this. I'm gonna go back. Okay, I've got this on here. For scene 2, you're gonna wanna turn off lights. So if I turn that off, yeah, you see what just happened? They were on. I mean, if you really want it on, who am I to say to turn it off? But my point is you can turn it off and it's gonna remember that. So if I switch to scene 3, see how they kicked on. So we've got that. That's really cool. I'm gonna continue playing with these settings. Maybe we go with -0.2. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Boost the contrast a little bit. Can add a little more highlights, that way these glow some more. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. So let's switch this back to 2 point. Let's do a test render and let's just make sure our focus is set up. Always remember to do that. And I've got this. Let's go here. We'll do 2K, 16:9. We'll add this to the render queue and let's go scene 2 and let's do final checks. We'll make sure we're on 16:9, 2K, and we'll add that to the queue as well. Awesome. These look great. I'm going to render these out and we'll see what it looks like. We just got to remember to hit this. That way I'll go through there. And if you forget to do the 2K, you can just override right here, which is really nice. You can add a prefix. I'll call this R1 for revision 1 and let's render. So they just finished rendering. And I think like as a first pass, these came out awesome. You know, this is the night shot. I feel like the metal looks amazing with the lighting and everything. And then even the day scene, just like all the context looks awesome. I have like minor comments. I'd probably make this a little darker and I'd probably spend a little bit more time like cleaning up the assets so they're not floating. But overall, these look stunning. Probably even add more details here, but I want to run these through the AI enhancer and just see what we get. Because last time it was pretty amazing, the results we got. So I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to go over to AI enhancer. So we'll upgrade this guy. And I also just want to apply that winter filter because I feel like that looked really good. So we'll go here and I'm going to go to realistic and I'm going to do winter and style transfer. So while that's thinking, I'm going to go to this guy. I'll enhance it as well. And I'll also make it nighttime. And so my queue is right here. All right, so these are coming out. I'll zoom in. Yeah, we're getting a lot of nice details here. Yeah, I mean, as a simple upscaler, yeah, this is great. Yeah, let's check the rust and everything. Yeah, it's just adding so much more detail. Yeah, especially around there. Yeah, this looks awesome. Same thing with the clouds as well. They kind of go from like dull to like having life. That's awesome. This is the other one. This is the snow one. Wow. So it did change that detail, but I can tune that in the settings. But this looks amazing. The trees and the rocks. That's awesome. Yeah, change the material here, but that's why you have the settings to tweak that. So let's see. the other ones. So this shot's almost done. I can see the progress under task. I've got 3 running at the same time. Let's see. And so this is the straight enhancer. Yeah, I mean, what a difference, right? Same thing with like the tree here and the rust. Yeah, even the lights. I believe this is the winter one. That's amazing. Yeah, change this to be wood, but I think like the atmospherics and like the snow look really, really good. And I got rid of our lights as well. Oh, this was another winter one. Pretty cool. Yeah, not bad at all. So I'm going to show you what these look like all blown up. We'll upload those so that way you can see. But overall, this was an awesome mini series. We were able to render this beautiful project in a short period of time, front and back, play with the terrain tools, and I feel like I learned a lot. Hope you did too. If you did, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.